My name was James, and freshman year I learned the hard way that random roommate was a psychological experiment run by a very bored god. I'd filled out my housing form like it was a dating profile. Me, social, outgoing, love meeting new people, early-ish riser, clean enough. Kyle showed up on move-in day with a black duffel bag and a gaming PC. He didn't shake my hand so much as offer it like evidence. "Hey," I said, overcompensating immediately. "I'm James. What's up, man?" "Kyle." "Cool. Kyle. Nice. You game?" "Yeah." "Same. I mean, I'm more of a FIFA with the boys guy, but..." Kyle already had his monitor on. The LED lights pulsed a cold, aquatic blue. He started untangling cables. I told myself it was fine. Different personalities could work. I'd be the extrovert, he'd be the, quiet guy. We'd balance each other out. Like those buddy cop movies where one cop is reckless and charming, and the other one doesn't speak, but somehow saves the day. By week 2, I realized that Kyle wasn't the silent partner I thought he would be. I had friends in and out constantly. People from my floor, guys from my econ lecture, girls from the dining hall that I'd met 2 hours prior and now considered close friends. I wasn't trying to be a douchebag, I just liked people. The first time Kyle asked me to keep it down, I thought he was joking. It was a Thursday night. Someone had brought a cheap speaker and an even cheaper bottle of rum. I was half in the hallway, half in our room, narrating something loud and stupid. Kyle spun in his chair and said, very calmly, "Can you not?" "Can I not what?" He gestured at the room, at the hallway, at my entire personality. "This? Oh, it's like 11. I have class at 8. "So do I," said, even though my 8 a.m. was a myth I'd told myself. "We'll be done soon." Kyle's jaw tightened. "You said that yesterday." My friend Parker laughed. "Damn, roommate beef already." Kyle didn't laugh. He just put his headphones on and faced his screen like it was a shield. The bigger problem, though, wasn't my noise. It was time. I liked waking up at 9 or 10, going to the gym, grabbing coffee, pretending I was an adult. On weekdays, I aimed to be asleep by 1 a.m. because I liked believing my life was under control. Kyle's life started at midnight. He played Minecraft all the time. I'd fall asleep to the soft clacking of keys and the occasional click, click, click of a mouse like a tiny metronome counting down my sanity. At first, it didn't bother me. College dorms were noisy. That was the deal. What bothered me was the hypocrisy. Kyle could build digital castles until 4 in the morning, but if my alarm chirped at 9:15, he acted crazy. Now, the first time it happened, I was half asleep and trying to be considerate. My phone buzzed. I reached for it, fumbling. The sound went on for maybe 3 seconds. Kyle bolted upright like a vampire who had smelled daylight. "Dude, turn that off!" My alarm? Yes! It's 9. "And I'm sleeping," he said, like I was supposed to salute. I sat up, feeling my own temper spark. "You were up until 4. So? My so is I also have to live here." "Then don't set it that loud." "It's not loud. It's literally a phone." Kyle turned over and yanked a pillow over his head like the conversation had been a pop-up ad. I tried to let it go because, well, being the loud guy on a dorm floor came with a certain responsibility not to become the villain in your own story. But then the other thing started happening. Around 5 a.m., not every night, but most nights, I'd hear Kyle make this chewing sound, like wet, slow chewing. Then he'd mumble something under his breath. Words thick and garbled, like he was half underwater. It was creepy in that way that normal human things could be creepy at 3 a.m, like hearing your fridge click on in an empty house. Now, I told myself, sleep talking, sleep apnea, whatever. People snored. People made noises. Kyle was a human being with a body. Still, once you heard something every night, it stopped being background. One morning, I couldn't help it. "Kyle," I said while he was brushing his teeth in our tiny sink, "do you, sleep talk?" He spat, wiped his mouth, and stared at me like I'd asked his bank balance. "No? I swear you do. At 5 a.m, you make this chewing noise and then you mumble." Kyle's cheeks flushed. Angry or embarrassed? "No, I don't. I'm not trying to roast you. It's just..." Kyle shoved his toothbrush back into his caddy. "Stop watching me sleep, man. That's weird. I'm not watching you sleep. I'm trying to sleep. You're loud." Kyle turned away, like the conversation had been deleted. Now, I should have taken that as a warning sign. Kyle didn't do vulnerability. Kyle did denial. The shift happened after midterms, when Kyle discovered horror games. Minecraft faded. Suddenly, I'd come in late and see him wearing headphones, lights off, face lit up by a screen that looked like a nightmare. He started with Phasmophobia, which was honestly kind of fun to watch. He'd creep through abandoned houses, whispering into his mic like a guy in a ghost documentary. "You're gonna die," I'd say, leaning on my bedpost. Kyle wouldn't look away. "Shut up. No, I mean, that door just moved." "It's a ghost," he said, like I was dumb. He sounded alive playing those games. Focused. Even a little animated when he wasn't pretending I didn't exist. Then he moved to Outlast. Now, the first time Kyle got jump scared, he actually yelped. A full body sound. I laughed. Because I'm a terrible person. Oh my god. Kyle ripped one headphone off. "Don't." "What? That was don't. Just don't." I held my hands up. Okay. But I was secretly thrilled. He was finally reacting to something in the world like a normal human. Then the nights changed. It started the first week of October. I woke up at around 2 a.m. to the sound of Kyle gasping. Not like a quiet inhale. Like he'd been underwater and he came up too fast. I sat up, heart already thumping. "Kyle?" He was sitting upright in bed, eyes open but not seeing. His chest rose and fell like he had just sprinted. "Kyle? Yo, you okay?" He didn't answer. He stared into the dark like he was watching something crawl across the ceiling. Not a startled shout. A raw, full-throat scream that blasted the room like a fire alarm. It was so sudden my whole body went cold. I jumped out of bed. "Kyle! Kyle, wake up!" "What the f***?" he snarled. "Dude, you were screaming. You were like..." Kyle shoved himself back into his pillow. "No, I wasn't." "Yes, you were. You scared the hell out of me." Kyle rolled over. "Go back to sleep." I stood there for a second, stunned by how fast he returned to flat, angry normal. "Are you having nightmares? Like night terrors or something?" Kyle's voice came from under the sheet, muffled. "I'm fine." The next night, it happened again. And again. Sometimes it was a scream. Sometimes it was a shout, like he was warning someone. Once, he yelled a word I couldn't even make out. A sound that felt like a name. I tried being gentle. "Kyle," I said one morning while he booted up his PC, "you've been screaming in your sleep." He didn't turn. "No, I haven't. You have, multiple times. Like, I'm not making this up. You're trying to mess with me. What? Why would I do that? Kyle finally looked at me, eyes narrowed. Because you're bored. Because you think it's funny. I think it's funny that I wake up to you screaming like you're being murdered? Kyle turned back to his monitor. It's not happening. So I recorded it. I hated that I did it, but I also felt like I was losing my mind. Like, maybe I was imagining it because I wasn't sleeping. The next time he screamed, I hit record under my blanket, heart pounding. In the morning, I waited until he was semi-awake, because Kyle, before noon, was a different species. Look, just watch. Kyle watched himself on video. The room dark, the scream sharp, my own whisper in the recording. What the hell? His face didn't change. He shrugged. Okay. That's it? That's your reaction? Kyle handed the phone back like it was nothing. It's probably Outlast. I'll stop playing it. I exhaled. Relief and anger mixing. Thank you. He didn't stop. He said he would. He wouldn't. Or he'd stop for a few days and then go right back, like the games had hooks in him. And the terrors kept coming, on and off, like our room had a haunting schedule. The worst night, the one that still makes my stomach twist, was when I had a girl over. Her name was Emma. She was in my sociology class. We weren't official, but we were something. That night, she came back to my dorm after a campus movie screening. We tiptoed in, whispering like teenagers in a sitcom, trying not to wake Kyle. Kyle was asleep, facing the wall. Emma whispered, "He always sleeps like that?" "Yeah," I whispered back. "He's nocturnal, like a bat." She smiled. "Be nice. I'm being nice. I'm whispering." We got into my bed, under my blanket, and for once I felt calm, like the world was quiet. Then, around 3 a.m., Emma bolted upright so fast she smacked my shoulder. What the f***? "It's Kyle," I said, already sitting up. "He does this sometimes." Kyle screamed again, and then started thrashing, blanket kicking, bed creaking. Emma grabbed my arm, nails digging in. "Is he okay?" I started. Then Kyle shouted, "Get off me!" Emma's breath hitched. She slid toward the edge of the bed like she might climb out the window. "Kyle!" I called, voice loud now. "Kyle, wake up! You're dreaming!" Kyle snapped awake, eyes glowing with anger in the dark. He saw us, and for a second, the shame finally landed. His expression flickered, like he realized he'd been caught. And then the anger slammed back in. "Oh my God," Kyle said, voice dripping disgust. "Are you kidding me?" Emma stared at him, wide-eyed. "I'm sorry," Kyle cut her off. "No, I'm sorry I have to live with a dude who thinks this is a motel." My face burned. "Kyle, you were screaming." Kyle pointed at me, shaking. "And you're always doing like this. Always. You're the reason I can't sleep." Emma slid out of bed, already grabbing her shorts. Her voice was tight, careful. "James, I'm gonna go." "Emma, wait. It's not... He..." Kyle scoffed. "Yeah, blame me." Emma's eyes flicked between us. She backed toward the door like she was in one of Kyle's games. I'll text you tomorrow," she said. And then she was gone. The door clicked shut, and the room felt colder, emptier. I sat on my bed, fists clenched. "Kyle, what the hell, man?" Kyle lay back down. "Don't bring people here. You screamed like you were dying, and then you yelled at her." Kyle's voice was flat. I didn't ask to be woken up. You woke us up! Kyle didn't answer. I couldn't fix Kyle. I couldn't shame him into caring. I couldn't force him to admit that he had a problem, or talk to someone, or stop feeding his brain horror until it started leaking into his sleep. And I couldn't keep living in a room where I felt like the villain for wanting basic peace. So, I did the boring adult thing. I went to housing. The woman at the desk had tired eyes and a voice like she had heard every dorm story ever. "You want a room change?" she asked. "Yes, please." "Conflict?" "He has night terrors, and our schedules don't match. It's affecting my sleep, my classes, everything." She nodded like that made sense. "Do you feel unsafe?" "Sometimes." 2 weeks later, I moved into a different room with a guy named Trevor, who wore Crocs and listened to sad indie music, but he slept like a dead person and didn't scream at 3 a.m. Didn't see Kyle much after that. We passed each other once in the hallway near finals. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. I stopped him because I still had a conscience under all my extrovert nonsense. "Kyle, hey." "What?" "I'm not trying to start something. I hope you're okay." "Yeah," he said, and then he walked away. That was our ending. About the girl, Emma never really came back after that night. Freshman year taught me a lot.